Good morning, beloveds. Um, ooh, let me adjust that camera. Okay. Well, so yeah, got bit by a dog, fell off my bike yesterday. I have a gnarly bruise today. Uh, and all the scrapes and what have you, that come with it. And this hand's a little stiff, but I'm in a good place. So, I'm definitely a little stiff, but I mean, falling off a bike will do that to you, right? So, it happens. It happens. I've been in communication with the lady whose daughter's dogs. It just, the dogs don't live there. Her daughter had come over, to help her rearrange her house for another daughter to come in, for a visit. And, things happen. And this is this is one of those things where we can talk about karma. I didn't do anything to have that happen. That had nothing to do with me. That was not a punishment for me or anything like that. It could be a sign from the universe that I need to slow down, but I'm not gonna do that spiritual bypass of blaming myself for that. Nor am I going to blame, the woman whose house it was. I will say that the young lady whose dogs they are, she does bear some responsibility. She knows that her dogs are tire chasers and that they should be obedient, and maybe this is a wake up call to her to get them a little bit better obedience trained. When you're dealing with dogs the size of them, because they were shepherdish, German shepherdish, then they shouldn't be tire chasers. They shouldn't be tire chasers. I'm grateful that I'm a grown adult and not a small child, because we got a lot of children in our neighborhood that ride bikes. So, but I don't wish ill on the dog. I don't wish ill on, either of the women that have encountered this. And, they have been very, very nice. And, they got me the dog's, shot records. So, and he had his rabies vaccination in June. So, all of that. And I'm not in pain. I'm not in pain. I ache, but I'm not in pain. So, that's, we are in relationship. To a degree, we live in our own world, but we also, bump up against other people, and these kind of things happen. And I'm just grateful that I'm in a healthy enough place to not, I'm not assigning blame to anybody. I'm not assigning blame to anybody. I'm, my consciousness is in a good place. So this is what happens. This is what happens, and we move on and go on about our lives. And I met 3 really nice people yesterday. So, all right. But what you're here for is October 11th. I am always in my right place. The first quote is, "Spirit shall call upon me and I will answer spirit." And that is Psalm 91:15. The second quote is, a treatment is an active thing. When one gives a treatment, they are not sitting around hoping that something may happen. They're definitely constructively, actively stating, sensing, knowing for some specific good. And that is The Science of Mind, page 47. I did say that the title is I'm Always in My Right Place. It is important to realize that prayer is work, just like any good work. It should give us a sense of real accomplishment. We do not achieve results by hoping something will happen, wishing that it would happen, or wondering why it doesn't happen. A prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of the one praying along a definite line of meditation that is for a specific purpose. And that was a quote. Perhaps you feel, for example, that you are not in your, quote, right place in regard to your vocation. Begin to realize that you never move into a greater experience by always thinking of the lesser one. You are today where your understanding has brought you. In that sense, each of us is always in our right place, but God's life within us is limitless. And if you are willing, you may expand your own consciousness to include your experience the kind of work you desire. I realize that any legitimate desire of good is right for me to achieve, and that the energy to fulfill it is always offered me through the Spirit of God animating my life. I accept God's direction now, and I am guided to procure whatever knowledge I need to better fit a fuller expression of my abilities. Every condition concerning their fulfillment is brought about in harmony. I move into my new work in a perfect right way, for God's wisdom knows no other. I am truly grateful. And that is Cece, Craig Carter. Okay. And I know it's a short reading, but there's a lot packed into it. Including, what kind of how active treatment should be. And then there's also the part, about you're not going to get what you want by thinking about the lesser. So if you want to move into a greater experience, you cannot focus on the lesser experience. Now, that does not mean, especially if we're talking about job, that you stop doing your job. What that means is you do your job to the best of your ability, but focus on the greater experience that you're wanting to have. If the work that you are doing is not what you want to do, you absolutely want to do the best job that you can, because that's part of the treatment. It is active, as he said. It's a movement in thought. Well, if you're already doing the best job that you can at the job that you are at, and then you focus on the experience that you want to have, a couple of things could happen. And I've had this very experience in that, with work, it's like I was unhappy in my job. I treated for a better experience in my work, and my work got better. My work environment got better. I've had that happen more than once. And so I didn't even have to change jobs, and my job got better. Okay. So it's possible. And it's because I continued to do the job that I had at the highest level possible, and the environment around me shifted. And my consciousness shifted, So sometimes it's a shift in consciousness, a shift in perspective can shift your job. And sometimes it will shift you into new work. But, and I've heard Reverend Jesse say this: if you want a better job, you do the job that you've got at the best that you can. And then that will move you into, and sometimes it's because your job will change, and sometimes it's because the job will change. You never know. You never know. It's all kinds of interesting things. So, like I said, there's a lot in there. And the fact that he's talking about treatment being work, because treatment is, we're not wishing for something to happen. We're knowing, we are constructing a spiritual pathway for that to happen in the material. We are creating a path into form for that which we desire. Stuff's always moving into spirit from the material plane and out of the material or out of the spiritual plane into the material. And so what a treatment is we are literally constructing the pathway for something to move from the spiritual plane into the material. All right. Or maybe we are moving something from the material plane into the spiritual plane because we're ready to let something go. And that's where we are. All right. Let me just glance back at this. Foster, what's the matter, baby? He acted like he was going to come over here, and then he got as far as the close bag of clothes and then never made it to the couch. He enjoyed sleeping in this morning. When I woke up, because I turned the alarm off, obviously there will be no exercise this week. he was curled up and he was like, no, I like it here. Okay. Okay, so that line, begin to realize that you never move into a greater experience by always thinking of the lesser one. You are today where your understanding has brought you. And that's what I'm talking about, is sometimes a shift in perspective, a shift in consciousness can change your work environment without you ever actually having to change jobs. It's really cool the way that happens. And it is important to realize that prayer is work. Just like any good work, it should give a sense of real accomplishment. And those of us who do treatment on a regular basis, we'll talk about the way it makes us feel. And everybody feels a little different. Some people feel warm, some people feel a tingle, but there's a feeling that comes with it. There is definitely a feeling that comes with it. So just be aware of that. Be aware of that. All right. And I realize that any legitimate desire of good is right for me to achieve, and that the energy to fulfill it is always offered me through the spirit of God animating me. I accept God's direction now, and I am guided to procure whatever knowledge I need to better fit me for a fuller representation of my ability, or expression of my ability. I'm making up words. So what is the mission today? Should we choose to accept it? I've read a bunch of that stuff, and I'm like, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to do and I'm going to use the word prayer work. Prayer work. Okay? Because surprise, you should feel something when you do prayer work. So the mission today, yes, the mission today is to do our prayer work, but the mission today is to be consciously aware of the feelings that you have around your prayer work. How does it make you feel? And engage all the five senses of your body. How does it make, what images come to your mind? What feelings do you have in your body? All of that. Look at that. And note how it makes you feel. And if it makes you feel good, you're on the right track. And if it makes you feel a little, then maybe it's time to do some adjustment in your treatment work. Maybe your treatment work isn't focusing quite where you want. As he says, focus on the greater, not the lesser. Focus on where you want to be, not where you've been. That's why the rear view mirror is smaller than your windshield. Because you're looking forward, not back. All right, beloveds, that's the mission. Surprise! And that is the pastoral care prayer treatment chain going. So I'm going to get off this. The other mission, do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, i.e., I fell off my bike yesterday. I turned my alarm off today. I'm taking the week off. I am taking a week of rest. Surprise! Surprise! Okay. I'm just going to silence it. And so I'm taking a week of rest. That is loving, kind, and compassionate for myself. Sometimes that's what it looks like. Sometimes you take a week off from exercising. Okay? Take care of yourself. Enjoy your life. Create that first response. So that, i.e., when I fell off my bike, my first response outside of my reaction was shock. But my first response was, am I okay? Is everybody else okay? That was my first response. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And people responded to me kindly. And that's how it works. It's pretty amazing. When I told that lady, I don't want to get blood all over your car, she was like, I don't care about my car. And she took me home. So, okay. So that, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when you respond lovingly, kindly, compassionate to the situation, no matter what. you'll get those responses back. Okay. So do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like today. It may not look like exercise. Most of the time I mean exercise, but it doesn't always. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Hydration is important, especially when you're healing, and breaking up. Like I said, I got a gnarly bruise. Make sure that you, get that bright light early in your day, whatever that looks like for you. And I got a little bit of sunlight when I came into the room. Just a little bit. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around you all the time. Okay? It is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. It can take those things like falling off your bike. Okay? It absolutely can. Just because that I had that experience yesterday doesn't mean I don't live in heaven. I never left heaven. And that's what helped me to respond to the situation the way that I did. Okay? It's a superpower, but it is one that absolutely every one of us have. We come pre-installed with it, and the password is love. So, and as I say, take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. And I have looked for the good and praised the good in the situation from yesterday. So, yeah, it was, there was a lot of good in it. There was a lot of good in it. Okay. I think I'm weird too. I haven't done the social media thing, which is we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. We are Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that we are on. We try and get all kinds of interesting content and put it up on a semi-regular basis. I mean, we're all busy people, you know. You are too. So check us out on all the social medias. And here's where I tell you to have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, an enchanting day, a magical day, a healing day, a prayer work day, a checking in with our feelings day as we do our prayer work, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. All right. When people meet you, they meet the God that you believe in. Remember that. Remember that. So, take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. Know that Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. And yeah, that's what I know. So I will see you next time.